Hey everybody, this is Robert with RC Archery, and today I've got a video that I'm going to shoot for you. This is the follow-up for the Bareshaft tuning that I mentioned in the end of my tuning instructional video. So again, this is just kind of a standalone video. It's going to be a little bit shorter and just kind of highlight the method on what I use, why I may want to tune this way. Again, it needs to be really good conditions, no wind. So I finally got a day here in the afternoon when the winds calm down, so I can actually go out and shoot this. We're going to start out just like before through paper with a Bareshaft, and then we're going to move outside, and then I'm going to shoot a distance with a Bareshaft and a fletch shaft and just go over what I'm looking at. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up to be able to shoot my paper here inside, and then I'll film that and go over, brief a few things with that, and then we'll move outside and go over the rest. Alright, so much like before, the way we started out, we're going to start out through paper as well, and that's just because we want a baseline. We want to make sure that everything is, up close, is set up and tearing through paper the way that we want it to. Any of the movements that we do in here, they're all going to be based off the yokes. If you don't have yokes, if it's a bow that doesn't have that, you'll want to use the arrow rest, but if you do have the options, basically what we're going to do is take the arrow rest, we're going to set it in the center of the riser or with manufacturer specs, depending on which bow it is, and then shoot that through paper, use our yokes to be able to clean up that tear. So I'm going to go back, get my bow, I'm going to do a shot here with a Bareshaft, see what kind of tear we get, and then I'll talk through what we want to do as far as adjustments to fix that tear. Alright, so let's talk about the tear that we have here. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit. Lift the camera up here. So with the tear that we have today, this is a high right tear. So you can notice there at the bottom portion, that's where the point of the arrow went in, up to the high on the right side. That's where the knock of the arrow went through. So with a tear like that, what we're going to want to do is take care of the high first. Also, it may be something to do with, rest impact. If you're using a blade rest, you may be kicking the back of the arrow up off the blade. So we want to make sure for good clearance, just like we talked about in the video, on my tuning instructional video. But we'll take care of the hair, or the high tear first rather. We're going to use the arrow rest, and we're going to lift that arrow rest up. I don't use the D-loop, movements or anything on this to clean up tears, and the reason being is that's going to control a whole different part of the shot. Works more off how you want to hold the bow, how you want the grip pressures to be, and what type of hold you have on target. So we're going to work with the arrow rest. We're going to lift that arrow rest up a little bit, clean that tear up and down, and then I'll reshoot through the paper. It should just leave us with a little bit of a right tear, and then we'll clean that up secondary. Alright, so I've got my paper here, I've got a few shots in it. I won't go too in depth on all this, make it a little bit shorter video. The majority of the information on what you want to tune and what you want to take care of is in my instructional video. But this was the first one, high right tear. I corrected for the height, I actually overcorrected, so I made it a little bit of a low right tear. The next one, I went back through, got it correct a little bit better. It was a little bit high left. I put one twist in my right yoke, took one full twist out of my left. That ended up being a little bit too much. Adjusted for the height just a touch, and then went through and changed the yokes as well, and then got a bullet hole through there. So that's what the majority of people are looking for. They want that bullet hole through paper, that perfect arrow flight. So I'm going to start there, and then I'm going to take that outside. I'm going to shoot at my 20-yard target, and show you what I would do from there, and give you a good idea on what everything looks like. Alright, so I got everything moved outside, and what we're going to do is shoot at the same target here as what I was using in the instructional video prior. So this one's the one that is level and everything is set up, so with the slope and everything it's corrected. So What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot one flitch shaft into the paper target. I've got everything sighted in to where I know I'm going to hit in the middle on the target here at 20 yards. And then what I'll do after that is I'll shoot one Bareshaft. Now, just for illustration purposes so that it's easier to see on this video, I'm going to shoot the Bareshaft here on the bottom because this one's a spot that didn't get used very much when we were doing the instructional video, and you can still see the center of it. So I'm going to probably use this top one here. There's a little bit left of the 10 ring. You can kind of see where it is, what's going on, and then I'll use this bottom one here as well for my Bareshaft. So I'm going to take my bow, go to 20 yards. I'm going to make those shots now. Alright, so let's talk through what we have here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So we've got the top one pretty much dead center on that 10 ring there, and then we've got the bottom one, which is my Bareshaft, and it's 11 o'clock on the 10 ring, so it's pretty good. You know, the thing with Bareshaft tuning is you have to be so perfect, so you know, it takes a lot of shots, it takes a lot of repetition sometimes, and you have to have really good conditions, so makes it a little bit longer tuning process at times, but you will know that you've got great arrow flight when you can nail the 10 with a Bareshaft. I mean, you've got good arrow flight. You know that you're going to be smooth coming out of the bow. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shoot this one more time just for myself. You know, maybe even more than that, because I just want to see where everything's going, and unless I'm going to make any movements, I'm probably not even going to shoot another fletched arrow, because I know that it's hitting dead center on the 10 ring. I've made some shots prior to the video, and then, you know, of course the one here on this video. So what I will do at this point is I'll just start shooting Bareshafts, because I want to make sure that that wasn't just a fluke. I want to make sure that it's hitting in that 10 ring and it's centered up, you know, where it looks good every time. Now if it continues to hit the left like it is right now, let me move this camera around, I'll let you see it a little bit more straight on. If I continue to hit to the left like that, what I'm going to do is bump my arrow rest just a little bit to the left. So you're chasing that Bareshaft with your arrow rest, what you're doing to be able to compensate for the way that that arrow is coming through the bow. So, you know, I'm going to shoot a few more, see what it's doing. If it is showing up left, I am going to move it to the left a little bit with my arrow rest. That's going to get it centered up a little bit more. Next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to step back to 30, do the same thing as like what I did in the video prior, in my instructional video, and I'm going to shoot my shots there with my group, just because, as I stated before, I do like my Bareshaft to be a little bit lower, because I want a little bit of direction for my arrow coming out of the bow each and every time. That way that I have found through my my findings and my shooting that it's a little bit more consistent when I make errors or when there's wind or something going on with the elements. So for now, I'm going to go back to 30. I'm going to make a couple shots there like we did in the prior video. I'll put that on camera as well, and then we'll talk through that. Alright, so we can talk about what we have here. So I've got a Bareshaft that I shot. It's a little bit lower than what I normally want, so I'll probably raise my rest up just a touch. But it's right in there with the group, maybe even just to the right a little bit, which would mimic a high left tear, which is going to be good. It's going to give you good clearance off, you know, off the arrow rest, especially with the blade rest. Let me level this out a little bit better here. I was actually shooting from the left from the target just a little bit because of the way that the sun and everything was. So you can kind of see on here, a little bit better angle here. There you go. You can kind of see what we're looking at here. I mean, it's, like I said, it's a little bit low, so you'll want to raise the rest just to bring that up. But just be careful on this, just kind of as a disclaimer. You don't want to raise the rest up more than what, you know, 90 degrees would be, more than what would level with the you know, the bubble levels on the string and on the arrow. If you're having issues like that where that Bareshaft is hitting low, I mean, that's going to be a tail high tear. Something just as a trick you can do with you know, a hybrid system is have the top cam slow down, so have it hit a little bit behind the bottom cam. So, you know, maybe if you're having issues like this, that's something you can look at. You know, it just depends. Right now my arrow rest is set up just a, with the knock-in just a little bit high, so that's kind of to be expected the way it is right now. I could probably raise it up, get it, you know, even, but at the same time I may just keep it where it is and just start doing some group tuning, because I mean, if you can look at my arrows, The 3 that I shot the group with the fletches in there, I mean, they're basically touching, so can't really get, you know, a whole lot better than that without really putting some damage on them. So I'm kind of happy with this. Just want to give that, you know, information on here. Now I will say this, I hardly ever do this method of tuning. Reason being, it's really time consuming. It's going to take a lot of work to do it. What I will use this for is just as a checkup on myself, to make sure that my grip is good, make sure my form is good. If I'm having a slump or something just feels off, I'll go ahead and I'll start shooting some Bareshafts, try to, you know, maybe fine tune myself. I use it more for that than anything. My typical tuning method is what you saw in the video, you know, modified French tuning, walk back tuning, something like that, with that Bareshaft at 30 like this, just to kind of give me an idea on rest height at that point, and then go to group tuning. So you know, just with that information in there, I appreciate you watching this video. I wanted to add this in just as, you know, another form, and a lot of people like to just Bareshaft tune, so I wanted to put in there how I would do it, what to look for and what to adjust whenever you're doing that. Again, thank you for watching. Keep a, you know, eye out for some more content in the future.